whether I wanted to practice a while and compare with the previous boards, or just get it on here raw and show you how terrible I am. So let's go. Well, the first thing you notice is how flexible it is compared to what I'm used to. And you really can't pump it like a Carver. And maybe I'm just not used to the long board and the flexibility, but it doesn't have the acceleration that I'm used to, and it definitely doesn't turn like a Carver. Definitely not a Carver board, totally different. But definitely easier to push. Definitely easier to push. Question is, can I get it around a corner going downhill without killing myself? Because it just doesn't turn. Not sure I should be going this fast the first time, but we'll give it a shot. Yeah. So it's definitely easier to step off and push. And I haven't done a lot of pushing, so I need practice at it, especially with switching my feet from right to this way, because I'm kind of, see, I almost fell on my ass right there. I don't know, this wasn't a very impressive first video, because I need some practice on the style. But I guess the key takeaway here is it's a totally different feel than my Carver Proteus, which you can really pump and accelerate, and that makes sense because this is a 40-inch board compared to, you know, a 32-inch board, and it's lower to the ground, so it's probably harder to get the dig that you need, the bite. But I'm getting some. So right now, my first feeling is much better for pushing, and that's just going to take practice. Much closer to the ground, much more comfortable for long distance, but definitely not something you could accelerate with. You know, downhill you can kind of pump like I'm doing right now. I just have to get used to that, I think. So that was my first reaction. Let me get some little practice here, and maybe I can check back and follow up after a half hour or so. After just a few minutes, once you dial in the board and get used to where you're standing and the difference in flexibility and feel, it's a smooth ride. Where I can't pump with the Carver to accelerate uphill, it's okay in this instance because it's a long board that's dropped 2 inches and it's much easier to push. So instead of pumping uphill, you can pump for a bit, but then you can get right back to pushing, and it's seamless too. So when I step off of this board to push, I don't start turning left or right. I stay kind of straight, so it holds well to the target that you're headed towards. So yeah, I just even going down, it accelerates real quick too once you get a little hill, and it's like you can like daydream and eat a sandwich while you're riding this thing. It's not as tense as the Carver, because with the Carver you always feel a little unstable. This is like a Cadillac. So just take it for a spin. Hard holding the camera. Hey, you know what would help us if I wasn't riding it backwards? That was the problem. No wonder it felt funny. I was like, what is going on here? I feel like I'm about to fall on my ass. Yeah, you can't tell with this. It's real difficult to tell with this board which end's forward, but it makes a big difference because you got Bennett vectors on the front and randles on the back, which are stiffer. So yeah, it makes a big difference going in the wrong direction. So let's try that again. I don't know if it's catching it on the camera, but here we go. Oh yeah, that feels better. It's windy today. I'm like going against the wind, so much easier to step on and off of. Yeah, I don't do as well when I'm holding the stupid camera. I need to get me a cameraman. Smooth over the bumps. And it's really smooth on the bumps with these big 80mm wheels. And you do get a little uphill action. You know, you start to get the feel for it. See, on my Carver, I could do about this well. So I think it's just a matter of practice. This is a really nice, and look how I can just step right off. You know, and I'm not a pumper. It's like my first time, but it's so much easier to step right off. Well, I don't want to bore you with me learning how to long distance pump. I just wanted to get this review out there on the Subsonic Century 40 and compare it a little bit with my previous experience on the Carver. Different boards, both pumpers. I gotta tell you, I'm impressed, and this is only the first day on this thing, first half hour really. So thank you, Subsonic Century, for all your assistance in putting this board together. Hopefully I can get a few more videos out there later when I'm actually not completely useless on this thing. So thanks for tuning in, guys, to KAFKUBA, and I'll get back to radio repairs and things like that when I'm in the mood, but it's the heat of summer, and right now I just want to be outdoors. So ciao.